From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
The Montana legislature looking to cut a break for businesses subjected to alcohol compliance stings. We'll have that story in a moment.
Are the Cat Grizz basketball games in jeopardy? I'll have more coming up.
In Uptown Butte.
We'll definitely have more of that story in a moment.
We will, we promise. Historic structures in Uptown Butte. We will tell you what's going on with those in just a few minutes.
Absolutely true.
And we could have Matt join us, but maybe not there much either. Oh, there he is.
Hi, Matt.
Yay. Well, it's never a dull moment here on Montana This
He's always
Morning.
the strong,
Thank you
silent
for
type,
sticking with us. It is 6:30. Holly Brantley, Jet Lehman, Matt Elwell here, and I will note with other oddities of the morning, I still have not turned on my space heater because it is much warmer.
It
today,
is.
correct, Matt?
In some cases, we're seeing 30-degree plus swings, especially out toward West Yellowstone. It was very cold yesterday morning. Today, wow, 22 degrees, 20 degrees in Belgrade, 22 in Butte. We do have some clearing skies out toward Dillon, trying to work its way back through here, mainly talking high clouds right now. Our daytime highs today around the 40-degree mark, relative heat wave for most of us as you head through the day today. Got a couple of days where these temperatures continue to stay warm, but not without the potential of some snow sneaking back in. We're going to talk more about that, of course, coming up on the Billy and Auto Weather Patio here in about 12 or 13 minutes or so.
All right, see you then. Well, the winter rivalry game so looked forward to is not going to happen.
Yeah, Montana State men's basketball games against the Grizz, another victim of the pandemic. MTN's John Miller explains how it all happened.
The 302nd and 303rd meetings between Montana and Montana State men's basketball programs have been canceled due to a positive COVID-19 test within Montana's program. A spokesman for the school confirmed with Montana Sports Wednesday morning. Both schools officially announced the cancellation Wednesday afternoon. The spokesman confirmed that talks of rescheduling have happened, but nothing concrete is in place yet because of the limited opening dates on both schedules. Current Big Sky policy is to not reschedule canceled games, but the conference has let other teams around the league reschedule canceled events. Montana has won 6 in a row in the rivalry and 19 of the past 20 contests and is coming off a road trip where it split its games with Sacramento State. However, Montana State is off to its best start in recent memory with its first 6-0 start in league play in 34 years. The Bobcats are riding a 7-game winning streak, most recently sweeping Northern Arizona on the road, their longest since the 2001-2002 season. The games are the 3rd and 4th of the season to be canceled for Montana State.
The good news coming out of all of this, the women's game's still a go. We'll have more on sports tonight and then from Missoula on Saturday.
Well, in other news, Montana lawmakers are considering a bill that would limit when a business can be cited for failing an alcohol compliance check or sting.
MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports on what a change like that could mean.
Senate Bill 129 would change the rules around contrived events when a law enforcement agency sends an underage person into a business to try to buy alcohol. SB 129, sponsored by Republican Senator Greg Hertz of Polson, would stop the Montana Department of Revenue from issuing a violation to a business that fails one of those checks, unless it is their third failing in a 3-year period. Representatives of bars, convenience stores, and other businesses say they understand the value of these checks as a way to make sure employees are following proper procedure, but that there have been a growing number of violations linked to them.
What it should be, these should be learning opportunities. This is an opportunity for the checkers to make sure they're doing their job well. It's an opportunity for the employers to make sure that the policies and procedures they put in place to prevent alcohol access by minors are working.
Joe McKenney, who formerly owned the Cartwheel Casino and Liquor Store in Great Falls, said his business went through 4 to 6 alcohol compliance checks a year. He said the effect of failing one is too great for what is usually a simple mistake.
I'm happy to say we never failed. I don't know how, because human error happens.
Current state law lets the Department of Revenue consider mitigating or aggravating circumstances when deciding what penalty to give a license holder. One mitigating factor is if the violation comes from a sting. Leaders said Wednesday that their policy is to give a reprimand to the business for the first failed check. The Department of Revenue reported about 400 compliance checks last fiscal year. About 20% were failed. This bill wouldn't change the individual responsibility for an employee who made an unlawful sale. They could still receive a citation. Here in Lewis and Clark County, the Sheriff's Office says they would typically give a warning for the first violation. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
6:34 now, a new program by the Butte Citizens for Preservation and Revitalization help restore historic homes to then be sold to a homeowner.
MTN's Caitlin Aguiles finds out more about how the program works.
Save a historic building, add to the economy, and keep our historic landscape intact.
Butte Citizens for Preservation and Revitalization is launching a new program to rehabilitate old, decrepit, vacant, and at-risk homes. Once they're fixed up, the homes will go up for sale.
You know, adding the real estate piece in, all the subcontractors, everything would just fall into place.
Jason Silvernail, a steering committee member for Butte CPR's Historic Trust, said that the CPR members worked hard to be able to receive the funds for this new program.
It's something that we can really identify at-risk properties that potentially could be demolished by neglect, essentially, and really turn them around while also creating some economic stimulus within the community.
The funds for the sale of the newly rehabilitated home will go back into the program so that more homes can be bought and restored. Butte CPR hopes to grow the program to restore these old empty homes and eventually help restore old historic commercial buildings in Uptown Butte. Silvernail said that Butte CPR is thrilled to be bringing these homes back to life.
We're very excited. We think this is a great thing for Butte, its historic structures, and economic development.
In Butte, Caitlin Aguiles, MTN News.
Well, history, science, and English are subjects students are expected to learn.
But as we continue marking News Literacy Week, some educators feel there's another skill kids need now more than ever: digital literacy.
Amanda Brandeis looks at an effort underway to bring this subject to classrooms nationwide.
There's a lawsuit in America with someone
for younger generations, navigating the digital world is like riding a bike.
Can operate digital devices with fluency, and they can upload an iMovie at the same time that they're texting you.
But how well can they vet the information on their screen?
The one word we used to summarize it was bleak.
Sam Weinberg and his team at Stanford University started asking this question in 2014, testing thousands of students from middle school to college.
What our study showed was a seemingly bottomless ability of young people to believe what their eyes see on the screen.
Over 80% of middle school students couldn't tell the difference between an ad or a news story. Rather than verifying this Russian-made video on Facebook, 52% of students believed it showed strong evidence of voter fraud in the 2016 election.
Right along with the pandemic, we are deeply engaged in fighting an infodemic.
His team created the Civic Online Reasoning, or core curriculum. By deploying strategies used by fact checkers at leading news outlets, they created lessons for teachers.
Fact checkers don't just examine one source. They look at multiple sources.
His lessons are open to any educator for free, helping to teach students skills like how to vet social media claims.
Fake Facebook pages for made-up grassroots communities that then had real offline rallies.
Weinberg says it's helping move the needle. In one study, core curriculum students scored an average 2 points higher on an evaluation of online sources, compared to just over half a point in a control group.
I said, we need this in nutrition. There is so much disinformation in nutrition, and it is so attractive.
Professor Priscilla Connors embedded the curriculum in her college nutrition class.
How do I address the fact that they're defaulting to influencers, they're defaulting to social media sites?
Through 1-hour lessons each week, students began to think more critically.
Any individual or group can buy a .org domain without passing a character test or proving they're working for social betterment.
I think it fits right in there with everybody should learn how to drive a car before they get their driver's license. And where do we do most of our traveling right now? Online.
Teachers can integrate the free lessons into classes like history and biology.
What age should we start talking about this type of thing with our students? And my response is, as soon as they have a smartphone in their back pocket.
Weinberg believes these lessons can help build immunity to misinformation and disinformation, skills needed to fight a growing infodemic. I'm Amanda Brandeis reporting.
Now, the Montana Television Network has partnered with the News Literacy Project for National News Literacy Week. MTN Chief Political Reporter Mike Dennison held a virtual town hall discussion with Carroll College students to answer their questions about covering politics and the standards and work that goes into fact-based journalism. Many of the students had questions about disinformation on social media and spotting the difference between news and opinion articles. The student's professor, Jeremy Johnson, works with his class to be critical of any news they receive and recognize the role misinformation plays in politics.
We also say what the challenges are and always be a careful connoisseur of the news and to be an active reader. Just don't accept everything that appears to you on Facebook or the internet.
Now, in a time of growing disinformation online, Johnson says it's more important than ever to be news literate and be able to recognize fact-based journalism in politics. We'll have more from that town hall discussion with Mike Dennison coming up later today. Good stuff there.
Absolutely. The news literacy, the digital literacy, it's something we're very passionate about.
Absolutely.
So.
I've staked my life on it for 30 some years. Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're right, it is important to us.
That's right. Well, coming up here on Montana This Morning, the Bernie Sanders mittens meme takes off in a big way. Just how much it's helping food banks, that's coming up.
But first, here's Tony DeCopa with a look at what's coming up at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, officials say new COVID variants have been detected in more than half the country. We'll talk about how that's complicating the debate on whether it's safe to reopen schools. Also, experts say the U.S. travel industry has suffered more than $500 billion in COVID-related losses. We'll talk with Virgin Group founder Sir Richard Branson about how the pandemic is changing the future of that industry. And Late Show band leader Jon Batiste joins us, why he says his new song, I Need You, is like that warm hug we all need after going through 2020. I do agree. We'll see you at 7.